Okay. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Welcome back to our English class. I hope everyone is doing well. And of course, I hope you had a great day today. Now, in this session, we are going to continue with our assessment or exercises on our previous topic, which is all about oil and gas vocabulary. Now, remember, in our last meeting, we did two exercises in total, right? So I hope everybody is ready to really continue with the three remaining exercises for this evening. Before we start, let's do a breathing exercise. On my cue, inhale, exhale. Again, inhale, exhale. Okay. Now, may I remind everyone when it comes to participation, you can always share your answer through our chat box here. This the chat box or the comment box is always open, so you can always share your answer when it comes to the exercises that we are going to do this evening. I will constantly check the comment box so as to recognize and acknowledge your answers, any kind of responses, no? It could either be your answer to the exercise or a question to the exercise or any kind of responses. I will try to acknowledge that. Okay. So please, you can always use the comment box section. Now, last meeting, again, I've mentioned earlier that we started with the first two exercises, but before that, let me check my screen. Let me do a quick check on my screen as well as on my audio for a moment. Okay, everything is good. Let's continue again. Last meeting, we did two exercises in total. We had this match terms to definitions and then multiple choice quiz. Each type of exercises has 10 items in total. So, last meeting, we did 20 items in total. For this evening, we are aiming to finish the three remaining exercises, which in total there are 30 items. So let's do a quick peek on what we did last meeting. So we started with this one. Again, we matched terms to definitions. Here, what did we do? Basically, we determine if each definition matches the term correctly. So there is a correct answer. I mean, yeah, of course, there's a correct answer, but there are two options in total here. Does the definition matches the term or not? So that's those were the two options. If it matches or if it does not match. Okay. So that's the first exercise that we did. And then next to that, so there are 10 items in total for a moment because it's lagging, I think, and on my end. So we did that. Oh no. Okay, let's go back. And then after that, we did the multiple choice quiz, which is very basic. We tried to choose the best option or the correct answer among the four options provided. Okay? All right. Let's move on to the next type of exercise. So these are the different items for the multiple choice quiz. Let's go over with the next exercise, which is a true or false challenge. Now, here in true or false challenge, we determine if each statement is true or false. Oh, that's basically it. There are two options here. Okay, let's continue. Let's click this one for a moment. It's not working. Do we need to go over with the next? Wait, I'm already tapping it. For a moment, let me just do a quick fix on the presentation. But yeah, again, the focus of our assessment is on oil and gas vocabulary, so don't forget that. There were how many essential terms we've discussed or tackled during our previous meetings. We had 25 essential terms, and those 25 essential terms will be discussed or will be assessed all throughout these exercises. So I prepared 5 exercises in total. Last meeting, we're already done with the first two exercises, the match terms and the multiple choice quiz, which each has 10 items in total. So we are going to continue with the true or false challenge. Okay, all good. Let's see. Okay, let's continue. Let's start with the first item for the first exercise this evening. Again, let me remind you that you can always share your answer by commenting. We have a comment box section here, and I will constantly check it, for comments. Okay, let's start. First, again, this type of exercise is true or false challenge. Basically, here you determine if each statement is true or correct or false or if not correct. Okay, let's start with the first statement. We have here a gusher is a controlled release of oil from a well. Again, a gusher is a controlled release of oil from the well. Is this true or false? I'm going to give you time, 10 seconds to answer true or false. Okay. What's your answer here? Let me check. Okay. What is your answer? A gusher is a controlled release of oil from a well. Is this true or false? Now, how did we define gusher in our previous meetings? Remember that this gusher is a phenomenon where it causes oil to spray violently into the air, which usually it often, reaches hundreds of feet above the drilling rig. So, in turn, a gusher is a controlled release of oil from a well. Is this true or false? You might say it's true because there's a mention of release of oil, which, of course, related to what I've defined earlier, that this is a phenomenon which causes oil to spray violently into the air. That's why you might be answering true, but this is false. I'll tell you why. Okay, let's check. Okay, that is false. Let me show you again the text. A gusher is a controlled release of oil from a well. Now, why is this statement false if we know that a gusher is there is a release of oil from a well? The term or the word that makes it wrong is the word controlled. Now, the release of oil mentioned here is not controlled. A gusher is an uncontrolled release of crude oil or natural gas from a well after a high pressure underground reservoirs are encountered. So it sprays violently into the air without our control. So that's what the statement is trying to say. So this is totally false because a gusher is not controlled or uncontrolled. Okay, and the thing that is mentioned here is it is controlled, which is of course not correct. Okay, that is the first item. Next, drilling fluids cool the drill bit during operations. Is it true or false? I'm gonna give you 10 seconds. Okay, what is your answer? Drilling fluids cool the drill bit during the operations. Now, what is a drill bit? Do you remember what's a drill bit? What is a drill bit? No, so to better understand this sentence, we should also understand what is a drill bit. What is it is being cooled or cool. Now, a drill bit, everyone, if you remember it, it is the specialized cutting tool that is attached to the bottom of the drill string. It it has a primary job of breaking the rock and create the well bore, which is the actual hole that allows for the extraction of resources. So basically, it's the tip of what we're going to use as a tool to really break the rocks and get the oil or the reservoirs. Okay, so that is a drill bit. Now, the drill bit, when it comes to it has different types we have different types of drill bits, no, because of course it depends on the rock, the types of rock that are being crushed, from soft clay to solid granite. So of course, engineers must choose the right bit for the job. Now, despite the different types of bit or drill bit, it still creates this tension when it comes to how do you call that, when it comes to drilling thousands of feet of solid rock. It eventually creates immense friction, no, which friction. I'm sorry, friction, not fiction. Immense friction. Now, when it comes to friction, it will heat up the thing, which is the rock, as well as the drill bit. So of course, there's a need to cool it down, so as to really not to not make the drill bit itself wary, as well as to not melt it or snap it because it's too hot, caused by the tension or the friction that was created by crushing out the different rocks, to create to get the oil from under the earth. So that is a drill bit. Okay, it is a tool and it needs cooling down because of friction or tension. Now, what type of or which particular tool is or has the job of cooling the bit? Is it the drilling fluid? What's your answer? Drilling fluids cool the drill bit during operations. This is true. Okay, if you answer true, then you are correct. Drilling fluids cool the drill bit during operations. Now, what are drilling fluids? These are specially formulated liquids that are circulated through the drill string and wellbore during drilling operations. They are far more complex than simple water, so they are precisely engineered chemical mixtures that is designed to perform multiple life-saving and efficiency-boosting tasks deep underground. One of the different tasks that it does is cooling the drill bit. Aside from that, we also have lubricating the entire drill string so as to prevent weary, prevent snapping because it slides down smoothly. No, it also carry the cuttings, so that's the drilling fluids responsibilities or uses. Now, it also mainly help to cool the drill bit, no? To cool it down. Because again, as I've mentioned earlier, drill bit usually gets hot because of immense friction with the rock or tension with the rock. Okay, so that's why it needs cooling. And that can be done by using drilling fluids. So this statement is correct. Okay, let's move on to the next. We have refineries process crude oil products into useful products. Sorry. Refineries process crude oil into useful products. Is this true or false? I'm going to give you 10 seconds. Okay. What is your answer here? Again, the statement refineries process crude oil into useful products. Is this true or false? This statement is okay, it is true. Okay, refineries process crude oil into useful products. Now, what is refinery? It is an industrial facility where crude oil or the raw oil or the black gold extracted from the earth, it is processed and transformed into a variety of useful petroleum products, which was mentioned here. So the crude oil is processed into useful products using the refineries, no, the facilities. So far from being a single machine, a refinery is a sprawling city of pipes, towers, tanks that operate 24/7, 365 days a year to power global transportation and industry. So that is a refinery or refineries. So they are among the largest and most expensive structures built by humans. So that is refineries. Okay. So that's the purpose of that refineries. And once the product is refined, of course, the finished products are distributed to the world. Now, there are different uses for those different products. So, say for example, for gasoline, no, gasoline station, for electricity, for power, etc., and many more. So, still, the statement refineries process crude oil into useful products is a true statement. Okay. Next, we continue with a roughneck works in an office managing data. Again, a roughneck works in an office managing data. Is this true or false? I'm going to give you 10 seconds. Okay, what is your answer here? A roughneck works in an office managing data. So basically, the work of a roughneck is not that physically demanding. So because they are only at the office managing data, so it's more on intellectually demanding, and you're almost most of the time you're sitting, doing paperwork. So that the role or the job of a roughneck? Is the statement showing true or false statement? Is it true or not? This statement is it's totally false. A roughneck works, sorry, a roughneck works in an office managing data. That is totally false because a roughneck is one of the most physically demanding um, job of all time, because when we say a roughneck, it is a skilled member of a drilling crew who performs the most physically demanding tasks on the drill floor of any oil rig or offshore platform. So working at the heart of the busy environment that is a modern drilling site, roughnecks are really responsible for handling heavy equipment, physical labor, ensuring that the machinery really keeps running during high stakes extractions operations. So, from the name itself, rough neck, rough being that the job is not that easy. It's not an office job, it's physically demanding, it really requires physical labor. Because the term roughneck, it originated, we all know, as mentioned in my discussion, that it mostly the idea of roughneck, it describes the calloused hands of drill floor workers, but today it is considered a badge of honor in the industry. So despite being for those people who are still at the level of this job, despite the entry level position, the average salary for a roughneck is already high because that's how physically demanding their job is, and they are really recognized as one of the most physically demanding jobs of all time, no. It is widely regarded as one of the most physically taxing jobs in existence, requiring you to have the strength as well as the stamina. So, yeah, that is why the entry level earnings of a roughneck is already high enough. No, because of course their job is really that physically demanding. So again, this is a false statement. A roughneck doesn't work just in a just in an office managing data. They work in an environment that has most physically demanding tasks. Okay. Next statement, we move on to natural gas is cooled to negative 162 degrees Celsius to become LNG or liquefied natural gas. Okay, take your time to read and understand the statement and give your answer. Is this true or false? Gonna give you 10 seconds. Okay, are we all good? Again, the statement the natural gas is cooled to negative 162 degrees Celsius to become liquefied natural gas. Is this true or false? Is this true or false? Now, this statement is true. Okay, so natural gas is cooled to negative 162 degrees Celsius to become LNG or liquefied natural gas. Now, before we try to expound on this statement, what is natural gas? Remember, everyone, what is a natural gas? How did we define it? Now, in our last few meetings, now on our discussion about this, natural gas is one of the most significant energy sources on the planet. It serves as primary driver for heating, for electricity generation, for complex industrial processes, and many more. And as a naturally occurring gas mixture, it is a cornerstone of the global transition toward cleaner energy production. So it is a natural gas is primarily composed of methane, which takes up 70 to 90% of the mixture because of course natural gas is a mixture, and of when it comes to this, in its natural state, methane is completely odorless. That is why to ensure public safety, what do? We create a specific chemical that is added to the gas so that humans can detect leaks. So we make methane that is odorless have an odor so that if there is a leak, we can immediately smell it. We can immediately be knowledgeable about the leaks because, of course, for safety. No? So usually they try to accommodate it with a rotten egg smell so that it's much, much more strong. Okay, and easier to really be noticed. Now, aside from that, we also have LNG. What is LNG? Or liquefied natural gas. Now, when we say liquefied natural gas, it is a natural gas that has been cooled to an extremely low temperature of how many degrees? Negative 162 degrees Celsius or negative 260 degrees Fahrenheit. So this extreme cooling process changes the gas into the liquid state. Now, why do we do this? Why do we do this? Why do we turn a natural gas and cool it down to negative 162 degrees Celsius to become LNG? Why do we make natural gas an LNG? Well, it's more on the transportation side, no? Why we do that? Why we cool it down to 162 degrees Celsius? It's more of the traveling, the transportation of the product itself, because to move this energy across oceans where pipelines cannot reach, it is cooled down to this particular number just to make it an LNG. No, it shrinks its volume by 600 times for transport via specialized tankers. Because as the world seeks more sustainable options, natural gas has taken a leading role due to its efficiency and lower carbon footprint compared to other fossil fuels. Now, aside from that, LNG is really used for transportation purposes. because one can easily transport an LNG than NG or natural gas. So again, LNG is something that's been cooled or extremely cooled down, or undergo or underwent an extremely low temperature, which was mentioned here. How many or how much is the temperature? 162 degree Celsius. Okay, so natural gas is cooled to negative 162 degrees Celsius to become LNG is a correct statement because, of course, again, as I've mentioned, it's more on the transportation or transporting the energy across oceans, which can be very much harder if it's done in its natural state, which is a gas only. Because natural gas is usually just a gas and it's much more difficult to really transport it as a gas. It is typically moved through pipelines. However, you cannot build a pipeline across an entire ocean. So, this is where LNG technology becomes a vital service for global energy. We make a gas into liquid for easy transportation. Okay? All right, that's number five. Number six, we have pipeline systems can transport oil thousands of miles. Pipeline systems can transport oil thousands of miles. Is this statement correct or not? Okay. Think of your answer and share it to the class. Okay, what is your answer? Pipeline systems can transport oil thousands of miles. Now, this statement is true. Okay, pipeline systems can transport oil thousands of miles because what is a pipeline? A pipeline is a sophisticated system of pipes that is designed to transport crude oil, to transport natural gas and refined products across vast distances. So these networks serve as the circulatory system of the global energy industry as it connects the production sites like an oil field to refineries, to storage hubs, to its final distribution points. So that is a pipeline. And the scale of pipeline infrastructure is really staggering in a way that it requires advanced engineering to cross deserts, to cross mountains, to cross urban environments. So there is a massive network for that. No, the United States alone contains over 2.6 million miles of pipelines. So the pipe dimensions are usually large scale transmission pipelines that is done or practiced. So that's how pipelines are used. No, they are the primary method for moving various hydrocarbon products from the wellhead to the consumer. So pipeline systems can transport oil thousands of miles. That is a true statement because again, pipelines are the primary method for moving various hydrocarbon products. So it could either be here we can transport natural gas on its own, no? When it comes to pipeline. But if we try to transport the natural gas across ocean without pipeline, we try to make it LNG or liquefied natural gas. We cool it down to negative 162 degrees Celsius to make the transportation easier. No? Because it will be liquid. Okay? So that is pipelines. Now, take note, pipelines are really easily flammable in a way that the gas are moving inside the pipeline. So pipelines are subject to constant surveillance and rigorous safety protocols because, of course, it can easily be, it can easily be, or it can easily cause any kind of unsafety situations or flammable situations. But yeah, no, it can cause So it is easily flammable. No, that is a pipeline. Okay, next, number 7. Directional drilling reaches targets miles from the surface location. Directional drilling reaches targets miles from the surface location. Okay, give your answer. Okay, what is your answer? Directional drilling reaches targets miles from the surface location. Now, what is directional drilling? Remember, directional drilling is the practice of drilling non vertical wells. Unlike traditional methods that only go straight down, this technique involves intentionally deviating the well bore along a planned path to really reach targets that are not directly below the surface location. So that is directional drilling. Usually, the modern technology, it really allowed engineers to drill at various angles, including reaching a full 90-degree horizontal turn. So that is on that, okay? Drilling. Directional drilling. Again, it reaches targets miles from the surface location. Now, is the statement true or not? This is okay, true. Directional drilling really reaches targets miles from the surface location. Now, why? Because again, as I mentioned earlier, or as I defined directional drilling earlier, it is a practice of drilling non-vertical wells. Non-vertical wells are usually just those wells that go straight down, no left or right or other kind of flexible options. So here it intentionally deviates with what is usually practiced, which is, we go straight down only. So instead it reaches many targets miles from the surface location because moving a drill bit according to the directional drilling, it is moving the drill bit like a curved path. And of course, when it comes to that, it requires much more than just a standard motor. So directional drilling relies on high-tech downhole equipment to navigate deep underground. Of course, since when it comes to more convenience, it will also be much harder to really achieve. That's why there are certain circumstances that you really need to see for it, see to it for yourself that this particular thing is really working or not. Now, one of the greatest advantages of directional drilling, is how it changes the footprint or energy production on our landscape. It reduces footprint, which is of course very important. This technique reduces the environmental footprint because it allows for drilling multiple wells from just one pad. Instead of having dozens of individual drilling sites across a field, you can like have one central location, and it will also avoid obstacles in a way that it allows companies to really reach resources located and under protected areas, such as sensitive wildlife habitats or even under a town and city, without disturbing the surface above. So that is directional drilling. Okay. Next item we have a barrel of oil equals to 30 gallons. This has been mentioned multiple times. Does a barrel of oil or BBL equals to equal to 30 gallons? Is this true or not? Share your answer. Okay, what is your answer here? A barrel of oil is equal to 30 gallons, or a barrel of oil equals 30 gallons. Is this true or false? Remember, how many gallons should be counted for one barrel of oil? How many gallons are there? US gallons. That is 42. Okay, so the standard size of this one is that one barrel is equal to 42 US gallons or 159 liters. So a single barrel of oil, it weighs approximately 300 pounds or 136 kilogram. That is why they constantly check it because, of course, there's much more responsibility of accidents. And because the industry is so large, production is measured on the millions of barrels on um on that. But anyway, that's also that. Okay, directional drilling reaches target miles from the surface location. So that is true. Again, what is the standard size? One barrel is equal to 42 US gallons. Okay. Next item, a barrel of oil is equal to 30 gallons. That's the same. This is a false statement. Okay. A barrel of oil equals 30 gallons. So that is not a correct statement. Next, we have engine oil is made from a crude oil refinement. This is true or false? Okay, share your answers. Okay, have you provided your answer already? Now, what is our statement again? Engine oil is made from crude oil refinement. Is this true or false? Of course, this is true. No, any kind of engine oil is always made from crude oil refinement. Okay, so aside from the engine oil, there's also many oils that will be extracted from her so that this crude oil is really refined. So that is an engine oil. Okay, it is more of a specialized lubricant, either petroleum derived or synthetic, used in internal combustion engines, whether it's in a car, um, a ship, or the massive generators at a train station. Engine oil performs several essential roles to keep equipment healthy and stable. Okay, so this is a true statement. Now we move on to the last item. Now, the last item statement mentions a tension leg platform is a fixed platform on land. Again, a tension leg platform is a fixed platform on land. Is this true or false? What is your answer? A tension leg platform is a fixed platform on land. This is true or false? Now, this is false. A tension leg platform is never in a fixed platform on land. No, it's not fixed, a tension leg platform, because if we try to define a tension leg platform, it is a specialized type of floating offshore structure that is used for the production of oil, for the production of gas in deep water environments. Unlike traditional floating platforms that move vertically with the waves, TLP is designed for near zero vertical movement, which provides a stable case for drilling and for production operations, even in turbulent seas. Okay, so of course, the statement tension leg platform is a fixed, um, the how do you call that? Fixed. So that is a TLP. There are plenty of platforms or functions for a TLP or tension leg platform crew. It functions as a floating city and complete set of industrial management because when it comes to the crew accommodations, we have similar to the other larger platforms. Okay, so that is on TLP. Because TLP is not a fixed platform. There are multiple ways. The resources, however, vested by TLP enter a vast global supply chain. We have the extraction, and then the transport, the refinement, and then the end of life. Okay? So TLP, it represents the pinnacle of really marine engineering. It totally provides a vital service by allowing us to access energy deep beneath the ocean floor that would otherwise be unreachable. So it's very efficient in that way. Okay? All right. So those are the different 10 items for true or false challenge, which we determine if each statement is true or false. Do we have any questions? If you have any questions, you can always use our chat box. I am constantly checking it, no, for any kind of responses. So these are, do a review. These are the different items that we've discussed or we've answered for this type of exercise, true or false challenge. First, a gusher is a controlled release of oil from a well. That is a false statement. Why? Because a gusher is not controlled. So the word that makes this statement wrong is the word controlled. It is not controlled, everyone. It is uncontrolled. Okay. Next, we have drilling fluids cool the drill bit during operations. Is this true or false? This is true. No, as you can see here. Now, drilling fluids. There are actually different uses for drilling fluids. One of which is to cool the drill bit. What is the drill bit? That is the tip of the tool that we use to cut down rocks. And if we try to cut down rocks, the drill bit and the rocks while cutting, it creates immense friction or heavy friction or tension that would eventually heat up the drill bit. So that is why it needs cooling down. And it can be done using the drilling fluid. Okay? Next, number three, we have refineries process crude oil into useful products. This is a true statement, no? So we refine the crude oil because upon getting the oil from beneath the earth, that is still not, that is still not proper to use. It needs some more polishing, some more cleaning, some more refining. And that can be done through refineries, okay? So we try to transform it from its raw oil, which is not safe enough to use, to useful products. Next, number four, we have a roughneck works in an office managing data. Again, a roughneck works in an office managing data. Is this true or false? Oh, the answer is false. Why? What was a roughneck again? That is one of the most physically demanding jobs of all time. That is why the entry level position for a roughneck is or usually gains already a big salary because of how demanding their physical labor is or their or their job is in general. So their entry level position is totally high already because when it comes to physical labor or physically demanding jobs, it's it's really quite risky, no, to do that particular job. That is why they are well compensated, no, with money. Now, again, a roughneck works in an office managing data is not a true statement because they work outside or inside, and they do work, and they do, and then they do physical labor, which is of course not an office managing data job. Okay. Next, we have natural gas is cooled to negative 162 degrees Celsius to become LNG. Again, what is LNG? Liquefied natural gas. Okay, that is LNG. Now, this is a true statement, as you can see here. What is a natural gas? Gas basically that is something that we cannot really touch. No, we can see it maybe, we can feel it, yes, but we cannot totally touch it. So natural gas is usually transported. Of course, there's an act of transportation. It is usually transported using the pipeline. Okay, so that is on natural gas. We use the pipeline. So the pipeline itself can accommodate the natural gas and the LNG or liquefied natural gas. However, if we try to transport natural gas into the ocean, it is much not into the ocean um by how do you call that? But by traveling through the ocean, it will not be very easy. No, the gas alone. If you try to like, how can you make sure that the gas you are transporting is really a gas? No, so it's really difficult. That is why the alternative that was given is to make this natural gas into liquefied natural gas, no? So what is liquefied natural gas basically? And the natural gas is or has underwent different, processes, different steps, and then it eventually becomes a liquefied natural gas. Okay? So when it comes to liquefied natural gas or LNG, it is much more difficult to really handle that because they are responsible enough for that. No, they know that they are responsible enough for that. So that is why. Now it also mentioned here that it should be cooled down to negative 162 degrees Celsius. I thought that of course you meant harm when you approached this particular person, say for example, but of course, we're just trying to really see, no? So natural gas is cooled down to negative 162 degrees Celsius. Okay? Again, the main point of this is for transporting or for transportation. All right. Next, we have pipeline systems can transport oil thousands of miles. That is a true statement. You can always send and receive crude oil be transported from another country, which is done using pipelines. Okay? Okay. So that is a true statement. A pipeline. It is a method of, how do you call it? It is a method of really not bearing children. It's method of making the transportation or the moving of the crude oil much easier. Okay? Next, from that, we have also directional drilling targets miles from the surface location. This is a true statement. Again, directional drilling, it does not just drill on one location only, which is to go down, but it goes sideways. No, it's much more flexible for the people. So that is why we are buying this one. Okay. Next, we have a barrel of oil is equal to 30 gallons. Now, upon checking a barrel of oil, 20, a barrel of oil usually equals to 39 gallons, and that is totally not correct, no, or you're unsure because a barrel of oil, which was established from the first meeting alone, a barrel of oil or BBL is what? Um, it where am I? A barrel of oil, right? Usually it is about 42 US gallons. That is why it's false. No, not 30 gallons, but 142 US gallons. Okay? So that is why it's false because it should be a barrel of oil is equal to okay, the number of the other character, okay? All right. Next, we move on to engine oil made from a crude oil environment. Okay, engine oil. So that is a true statement. Next, we have a tension leg platform is a platform on land. What is here? It's a false statement. Okay, tension leg is a fixed platform. A tension leg platform is not fixed. So the word fixed makes it wrong. Again, it is not fixed. Okay? Any questions, everyone? Do you have any questions? Again, this is a false statement. So that is for the true or false challenge, which is to determine if each statement is true or false. These are different items. This is true or false. What do you think? So we're all done with this one. Let's go back to the exercises, set of exercises. Okay, this one. So pick your quest. Again, there are multiple sets of exercises. How many? There are five in total. How many items per type of quiz? There are 10 items in total. Now, okay, my PPT is hanging, but anyway, again, we're already done with much terms to definitions, multiple choice quiz, and now we're done with true or false challenge. Now, in here, since time is very limited, we are going to stop here. So the remaining two types of exercises, the fill in the blank and the scenario based challenge. Now, in the fill in the blank, this is typing the missing term to complete each statement. Oh, let me just wait on the presentation. I cannot move it, no? And then let's fill in the blank, no? And the next is scenario based challenge. Apply your knowledge to real world oil and gas vocabulary. But anyway, when it comes to drill, okay, wait. For a moment, let me just turn off my screen. Okay, I think it's all good. Let me just adjust it. Okay, so these are the different assessments that you're going to do. Again, how many did we finish so far? We finished three items or three sets of exercises. Two were finished the last meeting and one for today. Because, of course, the one true or false challenge was really that deep of a discussion so as to make you so as to ensure that you really understand the topic. That's why I am requiring you to open your camera. Then much terms with definition. So the progress of this is we started from simple sentences, and of course the culminating dialogue. Okay. Okay. Do we have any questions? Tomorrow, again, we're going to continue with fill in the blank scenario based galtong. I think there are no questions. Again, we're going to continue fill in the blank and scenario based challenge for tomorrow. Since we don't have any questions, um, let's do a review. No, from the three exercises that we did. Let's start with match terms to its definition. Now we talked about pipe barrel of oil. It's mentioned here. A standard unit of crude oil measurements is equal to 42 US gallons. That is why it totally matches. How about next one? A valve that controls and seals wells to prevent blowouts. What is blowout? It is more of a gusher, no? Um, Something that is sprayed violently without control, without proper control, or without intentions about it. So that is a drill bit. That is a tool that we use to break rocks. No, that is a drill bit. And of course, again, it needs lubricant. Now it needs lubricant. Aside from that, it needs to be cooled down, and that can be done through the drilling fluids. Okay. Next, we have circulated fluids to cool the pit and carry the cuttings. So that is a false. But next is pipeline and vertical drilling that reaches targets from miles away. So that is totally correct because that is the advantages of using pipeline. It does not discriminate between natural gas and liquefied natural gas. It's both okay. So we can use the natural gas and then after that they leave. Okay. Since there are no more questions, next is on refinery. We already discussed that one. Gashra also, that is the blowout. Natural gas, LNG or liquefied natural gas, oil and rig, and roughneck. Okay, sorry. So that is for the first exercise. For the second exercise, we have. Oh no, it's not working. My presentation is really loading. That one, this one. Okay. So here we do multiple choice test. Now we are going to start with number 3 because numbers 1 and 2 are or cannot be seen. So here, which is a floating offshore structure, of course, the tension platform. Simple questions like what are drilling fluids used for? What does petrol come from? What is a fault trap? What does natural gas primarily contain, what is LNG, and etc., etc. So those are the different things that were included for multiple choice test. Okay, what is engine oil used for? Okay, let's go back. Where is it at? Okay, here. And then today we did true or false challenge. We're already done with this one from 1 to 10. Okay, again, tomorrow we're going to continue with the remaining two exercises. Do we have any questions, everyone? Do you have any questions? I think none. Well, if none, then that is all for today. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here with me. Again, I would really appreciate it if you will use the comment box section for any kind of responses that you want me to read and acknowledge. I am constantly checking it for any kind of responses so that I can really properly acknowledge you. Okay? Again, do we have any questions? I think none. Silence means no. So there are no questions anymore. Let's call it a day. And of course, have a great rest of the evening ahead, everyone. Goodbye and good night, as well as thank you. Goodbye.